Hi everyone, this is group 24 and I'm Meli, this is Misha. We're gonna briefly present you our project.
We will start with the frameworks that we used for this project and then walk you over the schema, the code and the running application then at the end itself. So first the framework, we used Python and Django. Python because we wanted to start learning a new programming language, and Django because from our research it seemed very nice and a good start. It's a lightweight framework which is highly extendable. It has its own model view core architecture that is usable. It's an OMR, an object relational mapper, and comes as well within its own Django administration interface, which was at the beginning very useful, where we could test everything out. So let's start and let's take a look at our schemas.
You can see we have as a primary key an order ID, and then we have as a foreign key a customer and a delivery ID. Every order has a customer and of course as a delivery sort of item and employee, which we're going to talk about it in a bit. It has an order time, a total price and a discount. An order is placed by a customer, as you can see here, and from a customer we keep track of all of this information. Specifically, every customer has an address, as you can see here, and an address is composed by all of this criteria. Moving on, or going back to the order, we can see that an order is connected to a delivery or a delivery information, because every order is taken to a customer by an employee. So we decided to create a connection between the order and the employee so that we could keep track of the status of the order, so in preparation, on its way, or received by a customer. An employee, as you can see here, has an employee ID as a primary key, a name, last name, and an area code. An area code is what it decides to which area of the city the exact employee can deliver. An employee also has a status which is either free or on delivery, because we need to keep track of which employees are busy or on shift or simply delivering. Now, how to connect the order with the actual items of the menu. We decided to create an order item, as you can see here, because it's a many-to-many relationship. One order can obtain many drinks, dessert, or pizzas, and a pizza can be many orders. So we created this order item table which relates which specific item the order contains and the quantity. We're going to talk about it later in the code. As you can see, a drink and a dessert have a price, an ID, which is a primary key, and a name. The pizza, on the other hand, has an ID as a primary key and a name. It does not have a price because we calculated the price of the pizza based on the toppings, as you can see in the table. Each topping has a particular price, and then on top of that price we add the taxes, which you're going to see on the table. Each topping as well contains a tag to know if it's vegetarian or not. So to know if an entire pizza is vegetarian, we, let's say, loop through the toppings and we find out. Same idea here, because a pizza and topping is a many-to-many relationship, we had to create an intermediate table. You can see here the way that we structure it. We separate it into three main files: model, view, and controller, as you can see here. Let's start with the model. Here in the model class, we created our tables. Starting with the pizza, you can see here that a pizza contains an ID and a name, as I already mentioned it. Then the toppings, which have the Boolean value to know if it's vegetarian, and the price. Then the pizza topping, which is what connects the actual topping with the pizza. The drink and the dessert, nothing extraordinary about them. Then we have an address. Each customer has an address. We have the customer over here. Something that I forgot to say is that we declare the primary keys here by setting primary key to be equal to true, and then the foreign keys in this way, mentioning from which table is the foreign key. Then we also have an employee, which has an area code. That's how we identify to where it's going to deliver, and also a status, which is set up at the beginning as a default to be free, but then we change to on delivery when it's actually on a delivery. We have a delivery table which connects the order with the employee to know which employee is doing what order and what is the status of the actual delivery, which can be preparation on the way or received. we have an order which contains the total price and the total discount, and an order time as well, which gets initialized when the customer puts the order through, if everything is okay and we have enough employees available. And then we update the delivery time based on 15 minutes. And then we have an order item, which is what connects the order with the pizza, let's say, or drink and dessert. They get set up to be null at the beginning, and then we change them and loop through them, as you're gonna see in a bit. Something important to mention is that we keep track of the discount in each customer, as you can see here, and it's an integer. So after a customer orders 10 orders, it gets a discount on the 11th, and we set up the discount available to 0.
In the following, we will take a look at our controller. In the last part, we saw the models, so let's take a look in how we query the models. Here, the beginning, some basic informations. We can return an order. We can return a pizza. We can return a pizza from their ID by the name. Same for the dessert and for the drink. We can also return a customer based on the given ID. Here we can calculate the dessert price based on the ID and based on the dessert name and the ID, including the margin of profit and the VAT as was stated in the requirements. Same goes for the drinks, and as well as the toppings. We can calculate the topping prices and then the final pizza price itself. Some basic: get the toppings from its ID. We can get the postal code from a customer. We can also get the postal code from our employees. This is already done. We can get the delivery based on a delivery object. We can get the status of an order, the delivery time from an order. We can update the employee status. We can check if the topping is vegetarian based on its ID. And yeah, you can imagine the pizza vegetarian gets called first, and then we check if the topping is vegetarian. Now to the bit more interesting part. When we create an order, we first want to create a customer, and for the customer we have to create first the address. With the address we can create a customer, and then with the customer we can create an order finally, which we will see later. With that we can also create either a new customer, or we can create an order based on an old customer, which simply looks up if the customer already exists, and if so, it will just returns the customer, the existing one.
After we created our customer, as you can see here, we finalize the method by creating a new order, which at the beginning is empty, containing only the customer ID, a total price equals to 0, and same with the other values. After the order is created, we populate it by adding order items. And as you can see here, and as what I mentioned previously, if one of the items is different from null, the other ones are going to be null, because we need to keep track of the quantity as well. So for instance, if I order 2 margarita pizzas and 1 drink, we first are going to put through the margarita pizza with quantity 2, and then another order item is going to be created for the drink. A simple method here, get orders by delivery status, which we're going to use to update the status either of the employee of the order or of the order. We have a method here that creates delivery. This is used for when we are creating a customer as well. This is what methods that are used in the method that Misha already explained. And this method here is used to update the delivery status. So the delivery status of the order itself using the order ID. Because as the requirements said, an order gets delivered to the customer after 15 minutes. So in the first 5 minutes, we're going to put it through as being on preparation. Then we change the status to be on the way, and then finally to be received by the customer. Now moving on to update the price of the order, which is what we do after we populate the order with the items. We are basically looping and checking through the order item how many have been ordered and adding the price and keeping track of it. Because the method get dessert price, get pizza price, and get drink price is already calculating the taxes, we are not adding it here. Finally, we have these three methods, which the first one updates the employee status, because the employee can either be free or on delivery. Is on delivery after an order gets put through, so for 30 minutes, and then is free after that, based on what it was said in the assignment. We can show an order, which we use this method to display the information to a customer after the order gets put through. And we can delete an order if it's put within 5 minutes, which you can see here getting calculated.
So moving on from our controller with our queries to the view. First, we will have to take a look in how Django itself connects everything so that we can add a view to it. Django works in the way that we have these URLs and this view file. In the URLs, we basically set the path which we can call and the correlated method then which gets called. The beginning, the first one, is just for testing purposes, which we still have in here to show how we tested everything, and the other methods are simply how they are called and do what it seems they will do. So this will return all the pizzas, a simple pizza from their ID. If the pizza is vegetarian, the drinks from their ID, the desserts from their ID, the order, this will show us the order's content, the estimated delivery time, and of course we need some post methods. We want to get the input for a login, for creating a customer, for creating an order, for getting information about a special order, to update our employees, to cancel an order, and to get information about that order. After said that, let's take a look into our views. These methods, the beginning is, as you can see, very basic. We can get all the pizzas, get one pizza. We can get if the pizza is vegetarian. As well as you can see here, we return a JSON format, so we are not returning HTML, fancy HTML pages. We are returning JSON to have a nice terminal interface, which we will see later. We can get the drinks, the drink price, the dessert price. We can get an order from a status. We can show the order. We can show the delivery, the estimated delivery time. We can update the order status. We can update the employee status. We can also obviously create a customer, which will return the order, which we will then use for creating the order item, as you saw in the queries, where we just check which field is selected if the order item contains either a drink ID, a pizza ID, or a dessert ID. Here you can see that, but we can also get the customer based on the provided ID to log in. And then lastly but not least, we can also cancel an order and get the information about an existing order. Be the last code file that we will show you, and also important to notice that from now, the last file, we are leaving the Django environment, and in here, as we saw in the lecture 5 from Tom, we built our own little app manager with the PyEncoder. So we have a terminal-based interface for the user, as mentioned earlier, not an HTML page or JavaScript, CSS fancy interface. We would love to do that, but due to lack of times and the exams coming up, sadly we were not able to. So the app manager, our interface, has mainly this main menu, which we can choose from. It also contains a sub selection once we are in the pizza adding mode, and we can add as many pizza drinks and desserts as we want. Starting from the top now, we have our lists for the main menu, for the sub menu, and for the sub menus. We can log in with an ID. We can create a pizza input, drink input, the dessert input, and the order input. These are all just questions that show up to the customer, which will be filled out from the customer itself. We can log in, we can create a user, we can add a pizza to an order, the drink, the dessert to an existing order or to the order which we create. We can get the user based on its ID. We can cancel an order. We can create the order info if requested, and show the menu, of course, from our pizzas, from our drinks, and from our desserts. So this is kind of the three methods showing the content of our database and what the user can choose from. And if the user created everything, he can get informations about his order. And as mentioned, these are just the sub-selections for adding a pizza. And then after the pizza was chosen, because each order has to have a pizza, the customer can choose from drinks and desserts and pizzas, obviously, as well.
Now, something important to mention that we had to include was a constant check of the time, let's say in a certain way, because we need to be updating the status of the employees and the orders. And to do so, we first thought on working with threads, but then we realized that due to time constraints and Python itself, it was not going to be very smart to do it, and we didn't have the knowledge as well. So we also looked into triggers, but same, due to time constraints, as Misha mentioned, we couldn't do it. And so we decided to go for a more simple implementation, which simply generates or it calls the method check time every time an update is made by a customer. So whenever a customer presses a new button, let's say it wants to make an order, we call our check time method, which basically calls these three methods to update the order status and to update the employee of the status. To update the order status, you can see that we receive the old status, the new status, and the time difference. And we move from being on preparation to on the way without 5 minutes. We're multiplying by 60 because of the seconds. And same, from being on the way to receive, the time difference needs to be 15. We update the employee status based on the time when the employee got put in an order. So after 30 minutes that the employee was placed into an order, it just simply gets put to be free again. And now, finally, let's look at our data. This is the one that we include into our database to start with. As you can see, our pizzas are these ones here. We have 10, as it was required from us. These are the pizza's ID and the pizza names. We have the toppings, 10 as well, with the prices and the value to know if it's vegetarian or not. As you can see, they are quite cheap, but it's because then the price gets increased by the taxes. We have a mapper basically for the pizzas with the toppings, which is saying which pizza has which toppings. We have the drinks here. We have 4 with the prices and their IDs. We have the desserts, which are only 2. And then we have our initials employees. We have 7 because we decided to go for only 56 up to 62 area codes. We thought on Maastricht to do this, and so we decided to have 1 employee per area code, which means that we have quite a small restaurant. And finally, some of the addresses that we use to sort of like play around with the employees and the employees, which they all have the same name, but yeah.
So first, we have to initialize our database. This we are doing from our Visual Studio Code, where we first migrate the database and then we run the server. Once the server is up, we can go back in here, which on the right side we will show you the MySQL stuff, and on the left the interface. So let's take a look. First we will load in our data, and as you probably expect, we can also take a short look into our delivery, which is empty, our customer, which we have like currently these 5. We have also our employees. They are all free, which is nice. The orders, we can also take a look. It's an empty set. So far so good. If we now here on the left start our interface, our user interface, we can choose between these options. So let's start firstly with displaying our menu. Our menu is too big to fit into one screen, but you can close the application and see all the pizzas, if it's vegetarian, the ingredients and the price calc, including the VAT and all the required fancy calculations, as well as the menu, the drinks and the desserts. And as expected, in every restaurant, the water is the most expensive one. If we want to, for example, create a new customer, we can do that just by inserting the postal code, a fictional one. We can say the country, my street, my house number, the city, my first and the last name, my mail, and my phone. Just call in emergencies, please. And then we have to, as you saw, first create a pizza. So let's go with the first one. And once we created a pizza item, because every order has to have a pizza, we can continue with a drink and maybe a dessert, and the dessert is the best. So let's go for the most expensive one. Once we decided to add everything together, we get an overview. We choose 1 pizza, 2 times the drink, and the dessert 3 times, which you can see boosted our price a bit very high. We get the status of an order. The order was made at 7:22 and will arrive in 15 minutes. Nice. We also get the order ID, which is 1.
Now if we come back to MySQL, we can see here that the order was put through. We can see the total price, the customer ID, and all the information. If we now go to the employee, we should expect to see employee number of the area 56, because the postal code that Misha put was 56RV. So the employee Misha is on delivery, as you can see. He's set to be on delivery automatically as soon as he gets an order through. And we can also see the order item. The first time, as you can see, Misha put a pizza through, then he chose to put a drink and then a dessert. So as you can see, they all map to the same order ID, which is 1, and yeah, that's basically it. If we now choose to put another order, let's say, to the same postal address,
we have to, of course, check our customers.
Oh yeah.
Which you can see here as well, and the addresses, which I misspelled.
Yeah, they both got added to the database. Now, if we try to create a new order going to the same postal code, so if you maybe try to access with an ID, and let's see which customer has the same ID, 56, that will be customer 2. Yeah, it's gonna say that all employees are busy and that we should try in 5 minutes. This is how we decided to handle the fact that we don't have enough employees, but just simply checking their status and letting the customer know that they should wait a bit longer.
And if we, for example, log in with another ID, let's say with the first address ID, which also corresponds to the first customer ID, we can see that this works because we have an employee which is available for that postal code. Of course, here as well, you have to first create a pizza ID and insert the quantity, and then you can choose out of the available list what you would like to eat, drink. And at the end, you get the same overview, your order with the pizza ID, the quantity, drink ID, the quantity, the status of the order was made at the arrival will be at the delivery, at the estimated time, the total price, and our order ID is now 2.
If we now try to cancel that order, as Misha just... Oh yeah, first let's look at the information that got added into the database. You can see the order was put through. So if we now try to cancel it, order ID 2. Perfect, it was cancelled successfully because it was tried to do within 5 minutes. And if now we try to show the information, you can see that exactly everything is back to normal, let's say. And if we check on the employee should be free now as well, which it is. Nice.
If we, for example, want to cancel that order again, we can't cancel this order anymore because it's already got cancelled. And lastly, we can also get information about a placed order. Now our only order is the order with ID 1. So let's take a look at that. The status of the order is in preparation, was made at 7:22 and will be arriving in 10 minutes. Nice.
5 minutes have passed since we put our order through. You can see here that it was put at 22 and now it's 34. If we now try to delete that order, we should get a message saying that it's not possible anymore. Yeah, because it was put with more than 5 minutes ago.
Discounts, we skipped forward a bit in time and created a customer which has already 10 orders done. So this customer in the next order should get a discount. We set the discount to €5 for our restaurant. So let's try that. We want to log in with our customer ID with ID 1. And then we add a pizza. The first pizza margherita is approximately €5. So let's just add 2 of them and quit the order so that our final value of the order should be around €5. And as you can see, we ordered 2 pizzas. And if we look back in our table, the customer with the ID 1 is now not able to send another or get another discount, and the discount was resetted. If, on the other hand, we log in again and add a pizza 2 times and quit the order, you see that the initial order was €10, and with the discount we saved 5. Yay.
Cool, so thanks for sticking till the end. If you're watching this, it's because you stayed till the end, and yeah, we're really grateful for it. We put a lot of effort in the project, and we hope that it can be shown through the video and through the result, which we are really happy with. I think it was quite a fun project to do, although it was a bit big, which we were not really expecting at the beginning. We thought it was going to be sort of more easy or doable. It was a nice challenge, I would say, but it was a bit time consuming. What do you think?
I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. Would be even more nicer to actually have the ability to do it in the proper way with an HTML user interface where you can have a nice application to show, all in Django included. But yeah, maybe for an improvement for the next year, I think we might also be a bit off topic from databases, but it was really nice. Thanks for watching and
subscribe.
Don't forget to use our coupon code for the next order you place in our order system, and see you next time.